4.5 part 2 is story problems involving y equals mx plus b. All right, just because it says story problems does not mean that it is hard, so do not freak out when you see story problems. It's fine. So it says, suppose that the water level of a river is 34 feet and that it is receding. What does receding mean?
Going down.
It's going down at a rate of 0.5 or half a foot per day. So write an equation for the water level y after x days. All right, what do you think, AJ?
Y equals 0.5x plus 34.
Ah, very close. So I agree with the plus 34, but if it's receding.
Oh, minus, or 0.5x minus 4.
All right, so let's start with the minus, but not on the 34. It's going to be minus 0.05x plus 34. So basically, if we start with 34, every single day we lose half a foot. So after a single day, we'd be at 33.5. After the next day, we'd be at 33. And then 32.5, and then 32, and so on. Does that make sense? So do you guys see how if you plug in 1, you get 33.5? If you plug in 2, you get 2 times negative 0.5 is negative 1, so you get 33. So it works, right? So that's one way you can check. All right, I wrote it in the y equals mx plus b form, but you don't have to do that. You could have started with the 34 and did minus 0.05x. All right, so it says, in how many days will the water level be 26 feet? So remember, x is the number of days. So we're solving for x, and y is the water level. So we are plugging in y equals 26, right? Because that's the water level. So we're going to have 26 equals negative 0.5x plus 34. We solve it out. So we're going to solve the equation by subtracting 34, We get negative 8 equals negative 0.5x. Let's think about it. So if I have negative 0.5x, so negative half of a number equals negative 8, what do we think? Yeah?
I just did the easier way. I cut 20 for...
You cleared fractions?
Yeah.
Or like cleared the decimals? You could do that. Is that what you're saying?
Never mind. I did it.
Okay, so now let's divide by negative 0.5. And when we divide by a fraction, we're multiplying by the reciprocal, right? So this is a fraction, 0.5 is 1/2, so we're multiplying through by 2. So our answer ends up being x equals positive 16. Okay, and does that make sense? So after 16 days, we're at 26 feet. All right, so if you didn't like the whole dividing by the decimal, you can use your calculator on that. It's fine. But we should get used to it. Remember, dividing by a negative 1/2 is the same as multiplying by a negative 2/1. Right? That's what I was doing there. All right, next up. Oh, Tessa, it's about you, babysitting. Do you babysit?
Yeah.
Ah, good to know for the future.
Hire me.
I should. Especially if you only charge $5 per hour, like this problem's saying. I pay $10 an hour. I'm a
Ooh,
nice...
I would definitely work for you.
I do have 3 children, though, so you don't understand the chaos of my life when I get home. All right.
It's $10 per children.
All right.
$10 per hour.
So it says for babysitting, Tessa charges a flat fee of $6 plus $5 per hour.
Yeah.
So write an equation for the cost C after each hours of babysitting. Okay, so the total cost, she's charging $6 no matter what. So she's saying, I'm going to babysit for you. I'm going to take, this is on my schedule. I'm not going to be able to babysit for anybody else. So I'm charging $6. Yeah, Colin?
C equals 6 plus 5h.
That's exactly it. Exactly. C equals 6 plus 5h. So if she worked for 2 hours, so plug in 2 for h, she would make 6 plus 10, $16, right? So really, this is kind of in the form of y equals mx plus b. It's really kind of c equals 5h plus 6. It looks like y equals mx plus b. So what do you think the slope, 5, and the y-intercept, 6, represent? They represent m and b, but what do they represent in the real-life problem? What was the 5? So the slope was $5 per hour. Do you notice how that's like a rate, dollars per hour? So $5 for every hour. And the y-intercept? That's what we would call a flat fee. So it's our like baseline price. She's starting out at $6 no matter what. Okay. So it says how much money will she make if she babysits for 5 hours? So 5 hours, do I plug in for C or H? H, definitely. So we find C. So we have 6 plus 5 times 5. So we get 6 plus 25. So she would make a total of $31. And then the next question, how long will she need to babysit in order to make at least $40? So now what do I plug it in for?
C.
C, yeah. So she's making $40, so I have 40 equals 6 plus 5H. I'm trying to figure out how many hours she has to work, so we need to solve for H. So subtract 6. Subtract 6. Ryan, are you on a game on your calculator? So 34 equals 5H. And then I do 34 divided by 5, and I get 6.8. So she would need to work at least 6 hours, right? Or 6.8 hours. So I'd say, if you're rounding up, 7 hours, right? Right around 7 hours. I doubt Tessa's going to be like, my babysat for 6.8 hours. How would you write 6.8 hours? Would you say 6.8 hours or 6 hours and, I don't know, what is it? Is it 40? You think 40? Why do we say 40? Yeah, 40 is 2/3. What is 0.8 of an hour?
47, no, not 47.
0.8 as a fraction is 4/5. So let's divide an hour into fifths.
Wouldn't be it'd be more.
It's more than 40.
Should be
It's more than 45.
52.
Nope, it's 48. Because if I divide an hour into twelfths, right, or not into twelfths, into fifths, it'd be 12 minutes for each one, right? So if I have 4 of those fifths, it's going to be 48. So 4 twelfths, or 4 of the twelfths. All right, number 3. So a plumber charges $25 for a service call plus $50 per hour of service. This got me the other day. Man, I had a plumber over. I was just going to ask him for some advice, and they charged me $80 just to show up. And I was like, I was just going to ask what's making my wall go, like, make a weird humming noise whenever I turn on my shower. So I got charged $80 for him to do nothing. He was like, well, it's just happens sometimes. It's fine. So this plumber's nicer. He only charges $25 to come out. And then plus $50 per hour of service. So write an equation. So what do we got?
C
Equals
25,
plus
58.
Mm-hmm. So if I was writing it in the form y equals mx plus b, it'd be c equals 50h plus 25. So we can see the y equals mx plus b. 5 got a little crazy. So what will the total cost for 8 hours of work be? What about 10 hours of work? So our cost for 8 hours, whoops, so it'd be 50 times 8 plus the flat fee of $25. 50 times 8 is 400, so we get a total of 425. So it'd be $425 to have them there all day. So if you need to go even past that for 10 hours of work, oh man, you really have a bad plumbing problem then. 500 plus 25, so it'd be $525. All right. That's it. Can we handle that? Oh, is there one more question? I thought there was one more question. Is there one more on the notes? Or it ends there? I thought I asked one where it was like, how many hours of work would be like $600 or something? I thought I asked something like that, but that's fine. So then you would plug in like 600 for C and then solve for H.